Today I want to ask you one question. How happy are you? And no, I don't mean in this moment like right now. I mean with your life. How happy are you? Welcome to the My Slice of Life podcast, where we find joy in all the little things and the extraordinary. My name is Sharon O'Neill, and today we're diving into a topic that's central to all our lives. Happiness. What is it? What makes people happy or unhappy? And most importantly, how can we cultivate more of it in our own lives? In this episode, we'll explore a bit about the science behind happiness, uncover some surprising statistics about the happiest and unhappiest countries, and I'm going to share some practical tips you can use to bring more happiness into your life. So grab a coffee or whatever you like, get comfy, and let's get started. And I want to start by looking at happiness. What exactly is it? We all want it. We're all looking for it, striving for it. But can it be clearly defined? Philosophers, scientists, and spiritual leaders, they've debated this for centuries, haven't they? Aristotle called it the ultimate purpose of human existence. Now, our old friends, the psychologists, they often break happiness down into two parts. Hedonia, I hope I'm saying that right, which is the day-to-day pleasure we get from things like eating a good meal, laughing with friends, or just relaxing after a long day. It gets a bad rap because we think of the hedonistic lifestyle that people lead, where they just do whatever they want. But actual hedonia is more to do with just normal day-to-day pleasures. Then there's I'm trying with the pronunciation, eudaimonia. And this is a deeper one. It's about finding meaning, purpose, and fulfillment in life. And it's feeling that your life has meaning and value. So quite different. And today, psychologists have suggested there should be a third component added to that, which relates to engagement. And these are all those feelings relating to commitment and participation in different areas of life. Modern psychology even has a branch dedicated to happiness called positive psychology. Researchers like Martin Seligman have found that happiness isn't just about feeling good. It's about thriving, building strong relationships, and finding meaning in challenges. And I think that's important because we're all going to face challenges, but it's finding the meaning in that. So happiness isn't a one-size-fits-all sort of concept. It's very personal, shaped by our own experiences, our values, even genetics. And many of us view happiness as a destination, don't we? It's like, when I lose 20 pounds, then I'll be happy. Or in my case, a little more than that, but we're not going down that road. When I get promoted, then I'll be happy. When I find my ideal partner, then I'll be happy. When everybody subscribes to my podcast or YouTube channel or my blog and I actually get monetized on YouTube, for example, then I'll be happy. But happiness isn't the end result. It's an ongoing adventure. But why is being happy so important in the first place? I went to a website called verywellmind.com, and here's a little list of what it said here, why happiness is important. The first one it says is positive emotions increase satisfaction with life. And if you think about the unhappy people you know and how unsatisfied they are with anything that happens in their life, even the good stuff, I think that one makes a lot of sense. It also says happiness helps people build stronger coping skills and emotional resources. Positive emotions are linked to better health and longevity. One study found that people who experienced more positive emotions than negative ones were more likely to have survived over a 13-year period. So it's worth being happy and finding ways to be happy so you can live a longer life. There's been a lot of research into that actually. Happy people, we live longer. So next on their list, positive feelings increase resilience. And resilience helps people better manage stress and bounce back better when faced with setbacks. For example, one study found that happier people tend to have lower levels of the stress hormone cortisol, and that these benefits tend to persist over time. So if you want to be able to deal with all your setbacks and have less stress, find ways to be happy. It also said that people who report having a positive state of well-being are more likely to engage in healthy behaviours, such as eating fruits and vegetables and engaging in regular physical exercise. But it doesn't stop there. Being happy may actually help you get sick less often. Happier mental states are linked to increased immunity. So I think that's worth knowing. Okay, that was all from one website, but I do want to add something. Happiness is contagious. Research shows that the happiness of individuals can positively influence the happiness of those around them. I mean, we don't need research to know that, really, do we? I mean, think of any time you've been around someone who is obviously happy. Didn't it make you feel better? We enjoy watching happy people on TV or YouTube videos and the like because it makes us feel better. And if you don't think that's true, go spend some time with a miserable person and see how long it is before you're trying to get away from them. So now I want to look at what are the signs of happiness? What sort of things should we be looking for? See how many of these resonate with you and where you are in your life right now. Right, let's start with smiling. Really basic. But how often do you smile in a day? A real smile, an honest smile. When was the last time you laughed? That's just a basic one, but other signs of happiness are feeling like you're living the life you wanted, being able to go with the flow and a willingness to take life as it comes, experiencing gratitude, enjoying positive, healthy relationships with other people, feeling that you have accomplished or will accomplish what you want in life, feeling satisfied with your life, feeling positive more than negative. Note that it isn't not feeling anything negative ever. Being open to new ideas and experiences, practicing self-care and treating yourself with kindness and compassion, a positive outlook. Happy people tend to maintain an optimistic view even when facing challenges or discomfort, and wanting to share your happiness and joy with others. Now, how many of them are you experiencing today? Because I'm hoping quite a lot of them. You see, when I really think about it, a lot of that explains why I wanted to even start this podcast. My tagline that I first came up with was coming from my slice of life to help you find more joy in yours. And I say that and I mean it. I do mean it, but I think it doesn't really resonate with people. But then when I hear that list and I think, we need joy. We need happiness. There's so many benefits to this. And that's what I'm really trying to do with this whole podcast idea. I think I've been a little lost myself thinking, how do I define this? What am I really trying to do? See, at the end of the day, I'm just trying to bring happiness. I think that's what it is. So that's just a little side note. Once I read that, I went, hold on a minute. This is sounding like what I'm aiming for with this whole thing. But my personal reasons for starting a podcast aside, have you ever wondered if where you live has an impact on your happiness? Well, other people have, and since 2002, the World Happiness Report has used statistical analysis to determine the world's happiest countries. Researchers analysed comprehensive Gallup polling data from 143 countries, specifically monitoring performance in 6 particular categories. So that's their gross domestic product per capita, social support, health life expectancy, freedom to make your own life choices, generosity of the general population, and perceptions of internal and external corruption levels. So where in the world are people happiest? And do you live in one of those countries right now? Well, in its 2024 update, the World Happiness Report concluded that Finland is the happiest country in the world. Yes, Finland. And interestingly, 6 out of the top 7 happiest countries in the world for 2024 were Northern European countries. Now, Finland took top honours, as I just said, for the 10th year in a row, I might add, followed by, and this is in order, Denmark, Iceland, Sweden, Israel, that's before all the trouble started though, the Netherlands, and Norway. So do bear that in mind. This polling was all done before the war in Israel and all that kicked off. And just for your interest, Australia ranked 10th. The United States dropped considerably to 23rd, down from its spot at 15 in the previous year, while the United Kingdom dropped 1 spot to 20th. And I'd be surprised if we ranked as high as that this year, to be perfectly honest with you. But why are the Finnish so happy? Well, some of the reasons could be social support. Finland has a strong social support system which contributes significantly to its high happiness score. Then there's the healthy life expectancy. Notice healthy life expectancy. Finland has a high standard of healthcare, leading to a longer and healthier life expectancy. This freedom to make life choices is interesting because Finns enjoy a high degree of freedom in making personal life choices. Something I wish we actually had more of in Scotland in particular, because we really don't. Then there's low perceptions of corruption, and I'm holding in my laughter. I'm sorry if I sound cynical, but have you seen who's in government in the UK right now? Anyway, Finland, on the other hand, is known for its low levels of corruption, which enhances public trust in government institutions. That must be nice. Then there's generosity. I'm sorry, this is really bringing out the sarcastic side in me, but generosity. The Finnish population is known for its generosity, which fosters a sense of community and mutual support. Then there's economic stability. Finland has a stable economy, providing its citizens with a high standard of living. Work-life balance. The country emphasises work-life balance, allowing residents to enjoy leisure time and pursue personal interests. Then we come to education. Finland's education system is highly regarded, contributing to the overall well-being of its citizens. Natural beauty. The country's natural landscapes and outdoor recreational opportunities also enhance the quality of life for its residents. And then there's also cultural values, which also ranks very highly in Finnish culture. So on the flip side, some of the unhappiest countries are often those facing significant challenges like conflict, poverty, or political instability. I don't think that's really going to be a big surprise. And last year, 2024, the unhappiest country in the world was Afghanistan, followed by Lebanon, Sierra Leone, and Zimbabwe. And then you just work your way slowly up the list. And it's really fascinating to see how much culture, government, social support, all that kind of stuff, how they influence happiness. But it also reminds us that happiness isn't just about external factors. It's about how we respond to challenges too, and the choices that we make every day. But next, I want to take a look at what makes us happy, and what can we do to boost our own happiness in our lives. And the first thing is having close, supportive relationships with family and friends, and that's probably not a big surprise, but loneliness, on the other hand, is often linked to unhappiness. In fact, it's one of the biggest things which makes people unhappy. And I think if you think back just a couple of years ago when we're all told stay in your house, don't come out, people really struggled with the loneliness. So we can all relate to that, and I think that's easy to understand. So having the close relationships and that support is one of the first things to help us have a little more happiness in our lives. There's also health, and that's physical and mental health. They are key to happiness. Think of any time you've been ill and everything stops, doesn't it? I mean, it's a nightmare. But taking care of your body with good food, exercise and sleep can really boost your happiness levels. And I'm sorry for having to tell you that exercise makes you happier, but the good news is it doesn't have to be a lot for it to make a difference. Even 10 minutes a day can have an effect. We can all manage 10 minutes a day. Now here's something I may have mentioned once or twice in the last season, and that's having goals. Whether it's your career, a hobby, or helping others, having a sense of purpose really matters. Another thing you can do is reframing any negative thoughts you're having, and I did a whole episode about that last season as well, so if you haven't heard that yet, check that out with some practical tips on how to challenge your negative thoughts, because that really does have an impact on your happiness. And gratitude, yes, I've talked about it before, but it's so important for your happiness. Focusing on what you're grateful for, even small things, in fact I would say especially small things, can have a real effect on your mindset and make you happier. And it doesn't take much when you just have a look at the news if you really must, but there's always something coming up, even on my YouTube feed. I mean, just this week I heard about a couple who are privately renting, and they have been given, in England it's called a Section 21 order, which means their landlord, who owns the property, has decided, for whatever reason, maybe he's going to sell it or just doesn't want anybody else living there, so he's decided, well, I'm going to give you 2 months to leave. So this couple have now got, less than 2 months now to find somewhere else to live, and they are struggling. I actually wrote about it on the blog because I just think it's horrendous that people can do that. So for me, when I see a story like that and I'm thinking gratitude, well, I'm grateful for the roof over my head. I'm grateful for having a bed every night to go to. I'm grateful for the food every day. You know, when you really break it down and look at the small things, there is a lot to be grateful for. And I think that helps on the happiness scale. So try that if you haven't done it before. Now here's an interesting one. Experiences over possessions. People tend to feel more lasting joy from experiences like a trip or a special event than from buying things. And again, if you think about it, what are your memories really based on? Most of them is from events, from experiences you've had, mostly with other people or animals or whatever, but maybe you went on a nice walk with your dog, or maybe you went to see a show with your family, things like that. We tend to hold on to them more and have more lasting joy from them. Something to remember when you're thinking about the birthday and Christmas presents this year, by the way. Just saying, it's not about the things, it's about the experiences. So you can see there that happiness is a real mix of internal and external factors, and we have more control over it than we think. But I do want to touch on something just before I go. I've talked today about the definitions of happiness, why happiness is so important, the signs of happiness, the happiest places to live, and what areas of our life we can work on to boost our own happiness. And that's a lot. And yet with all this knowledge, so many people are still unhappy. Why? What's causing this? Well, I found a few common reasons that I want to go through with you just now, just quickly. And one is unrealistic expectations. Social media and societal pressures can really make us feel like we're falling short. Even when we're doing fine, we're doing our best. And I want to combine this with one word: comparison. Theodore Roosevelt said, "Comparison is the thief of joy." Social media can be great, right? I mean, I use YouTube. That's classed as social media. I keep saying I don't use social media, but I do. I'm all over YouTube like a flea in a rat. Anyway, so social media can be great. But it can also lead us to comparing our lives to others, and very quickly we start to feel not good enough. And that kicks your happiness right in the guts. Then there's stress and overwork. And in our fast-paced world, many people feel burnout and disconnected from what truly matters. And yes, I have talked a lot about that in the productivity season, so I don't want to repeat myself, but it really is a major factor for a lot of people and their happiness levels. So bear that in mind if you're struggling just now. Look at your stress, look at your workload, and go and listen to my episode. I've even done, way back when I first started the podcast, I did 2 episodes on stress and how to deal with it, much more in depth. So they're not great. I've only just started, so be kind, but the information is there if you need it. Which then brings us to mental health challenges. So conditions like depression and anxiety can really affect our ability to feel joy, even when everything else seems fine. And if this is you, all I can say is please go and get help. Do not struggle alone. You would be surprised how many people are affected by it. You really would. So if you need help, go and get it. But with all of these things, there is good news. Even if you're feeling stuck or unhappy, there are steps you can take to turn things around, like focusing on the areas I talked about earlier. So you don't need to be stuck in any of these situations. There are techniques you can use, and there are people there and support systems there that you can use as well. One thing to remember is what happiness is not. Now, like I said earlier, it's not a destination. It's not a when you get there, you're done. But it also isn't about ignoring sad or negative emotions. It isn't burying our heads in the sand and pretending everything is fine. And as it says on calmary.com, we need to be able to identify, face and embrace pain, sadness, heartbreak and other uncomfortable experiences, because these so-called negative emotions are part of being human. They can motivate us to change or improve our lives, be the important signals that help us defend ourselves and make happiness feel more real. Negative and positive emotions are a natural part of life, and we need to experience both to have a rich and full life. So please remember, happiness isn't about being perfect or having it all figured out. It's about embracing life's ups and downs and finding the joy along the way. And that, my friends, brings us to the end of today's episode. I hope you have found these insights into happiness inspiring and useful today. And if you have enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend, someone you know who needs to hear it. And as always, I would love to hear from you. What makes you happy? Let me know in the comments or use the contact link in the description. And that just leaves me to say thank you very much for joining me today. I do appreciate your time. And of course, I hope you come back next week. But until then, you take care of your wee self.